Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Harry Muppet. Welcome back to another Starcraft 2 Daily Masters game. And I gotta tell you guys, I'm really struggling to cast these games. And it's not because the games are bad, it's not because I don't enjoy casting them. It's because I'm totally addicted to EVE Online at the moment. I've just got my battle cruiser up and it's just sucking me away, man. It's quite horrible. It's an awesome game, but at the same time, it's quite horrible. So, yeah, anyway, thank God I got 3 monitors. It's running on another monitor at the moment, just doing some autopilot. But anyway, I've pulled myself away from running missions to cast this game. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So, there we go. Let's check it out. We've got 2 players here. And up the top right side of the map, it is going to be Life. He is 17 years of age. Comes from South Korea and he plays for the Startail team. Going for the hatch before pool build. Doing everything pretty standard. He's going for the double hatch before pool build. That is not standard at all, but yeah, I don't know. I think he should be okay. Yeah, maybe you've got the cyber core going down. NaNiwa probably going to be thinking of getting a Nexus down off the cyber core. That's usually how they do it. I think they get the cyber core, maybe they get a fast mothership core, but then usually pretty soon after that they go ahead and get the Nexus down, because of course facing off against the Zerg, it's always a good idea to have some nice early macros. So yeah, I think Life should be able to get away with this, and if he goes for something crazy like a 10-minute roach push or something like that, he's going to be able to field a very impressive 10-minute army with the sort of play he's doing right now. He'll have to go bonkers on the workers for a while, but for now, I think he should be fine. And the question is, will this Zealot think to check out the third base location? It looks like the answer is a resounding yes. Moving straight in there, and he's going to be seeing the third base. Not only that, he's going to be seeing the third base actually built. So he instantly knows exactly what's happened. And there we go, queen coming out. So we've got 3 queens coming out. Must have had to save a ton for that. Bunch of lings coming out as well. But he's really pushed out quite far here. The Zealot's going to be taking care of the lings. The more ling reinforcements are coming in. I don't think we've got any gas on the way for Life. He's got 1 gas geyser mining. And whether or not this will be for fast ling speed or whether he'll start to get the tech out. There we go. There's the Roach Warren. So almost certainly going to be a ton of roaches coming out, and with 3 bases into roaches, I can only think this is going to be for some very heavy 10-minute roach pressure, or maybe 12-minute. We've seen 12-minute roach rushes. They're usually against Zerg, but I feel like it could work quite well against a Protoss as well, simply because he'll have the insane amount of macro. But NaNiwa, man, he is not taking this lying down. He's sending out double Zealot mothership core. He's got the pylon down. Looks like he's going to put a lot of pressure. 2 more gateways coming down. So it's either going to be up to 3 gates or 4 gates. I'm not sure which. Looks like it is going to be up to 3 or 4 gates, one or the other. So yes, it's going to be some 3-gate pressure coming on here. And Life, without ling speed, is going to have to rely on a lot of queens. He's not built a spine crawler here. And I mean, if NaNiwa starts to warp in a bunch of stuff here, could be in a lot of trouble, but the roaches are going to come out. And I gotta say, just in time there to get those roaches out, because, man, he was looking like he was in some trouble. It was looking like he was going to lose his third base, but the roaches getting out on the field, I think Life should be quite fine at this moment. And there we go, some force fields. Might be able to scalp off some roaches here. But even so, decides to walk back. He had a bunch of lings here. Not really a threat, although it looks like, was they doing some damage to the sentry? Maybe actually got in there and did some damage. But yeah, I mean, Life has got the early third base. He's managed to hold on to it. He's managed to get a bunch of roaches out. Now, if he can pump out his worker numbers to a truly stupendous number, he is going to be in a good position to finish off the rest of this game. I don't know if he wants to go in and actually make it happen. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, NaNiwa could go for anything right now. He could go for a fast robo, chrono boost out an immortal, and then it wouldn't matter how many roaches Life got out. He would lose. He would lose, and the roach rush would not help him at all. All it would take would be a couple of immortals, and he can send a million roaches at him, and it would not help. So he's building out a bunch more roaches, but I really feel like Life should be concentrating on workers at the moment. He's got NaNiwa against the ropes. Now is the time to macro. And yeah, just, I mean, against in a PvZ, you could potentially actually take stuff out, but the threat of Immortals, the threat of Mass Stalkers is so high that Mass Roach is not really effective against Protoss as a 12-minute rush sort of play. It's just not, because there's so many things that can counter it from the Protoss. So I would say at this point, going out for a ton of roaches, and it looks like Life is going for a ton of roaches. So, sorry, ton of workers. What am I saying? Ton of workers. He should be going for a ton of workers. It's exactly what he's doing. He's currently 8 in the lead. He's going to continue to push that number out. I mean, getting out to 70 plus workers is going to put him in an exceedingly good position in this game, because then he can start to work on some fancy stuff like I don't know what he could work on. Stuff like muters, maybe muter ling potentially, massive amount of roach hydra, get some infestors out there. It looks like he is thinking about infestors or swarm hosts, one or the other. Roaches coming out, managed to snipe a couple of stalkers here, at least one stalker, and the main army just going to be falling back. They see that roaches are still a pretty decent, pretty fair amount of stuff on the field. So he's got a railway facility coming down, maybe some Immortals, almost certainly some Observers anyway. And here we go, the roaches coming out. They can perhaps break down these rocks. They're looking to go around. That's not a good idea. That's way too close to this base. And he must know how many forces are out there, so I don't think Life is really going to be able to do too much. Beautiful split going down. The roaches getting bisected once again. And these guys, I mean, they're, apart from scouting, you're really just chucking roaches away right there. I mean, he can't think that there aren't going to be observers on the field. I mean, there aren't observers on the field, fair enough, but you should plan for there to be observers on the field. And, I mean, burrowing, not a great strategy at this point in the game. So, he's going around the other way, looking to perhaps do some damage here. There is a cannon and a mothership core, so not really going to be able to do anything. We do have some swarm hosts, though, so these guys maybe just trying to keep the Protoss player on the back foot, just trying to say, you know what, I'm trying to attack you, so you should be keeping your army in your base. Does allow him to get this 4th base. Does allow him to get a lot of swarm hosts. So it is quite a big gap. It's quite like the roaches taken into hydras. Roaches taken into hydras is a much smaller time gap where you're vulnerable. Swarm hosts, I'd say probably a much bigger time gap when you're vulnerable, but they are out now, and now, I mean, Life can stop throwing roaches away because he's got the big old swarm hosts out there, and now he can start to do his main thing, which, I don't know, man, these locusts, I think they're trying to actually attack these rocks. Didn't really work out, and here we go. Looks like we get a bit of a pause there for some reason. Anyway, Hallucinated Phoenix constantly coming out, giving NaNiwa a very, very good look at everything on the field. He's control 3 by the looks of it, so he's seen pretty much everything. He's seen the swarm host, he's seen all of that sort of stuff, and Life, man, he's just going to try and use the swarm host as best he can. He's going to be falling back here, but right now, I don't know, man. He's not really making a lot of stuff happen. The roaches getting in here could perhaps take out a bunch of workers, and that would definitely be good. I mean, NaNiwa right now, he is behind on worker numbers, and Life is actually up to 87. I gotta say that may not be a very good idea, because maybe he's just got too many workers at this point. I mean, if it's a straight up army versus army battle, I would definitely say he's got too many workers, but I don't know, potentially he's okay because he's got swarm hosts, so he's got that infinite army sort of thing going on. And yeah, we'll see if it can happen. The problem is the locusts are a bit too far away. They're getting in range now. They're getting in nice and close, and NaNiwa's plan of just sort of sitting back and building up a bunch of Colossus to the point where he can actually deal with the locusts is no longer going to work. I think the locusts have sort of jumped in fast enough to the point where they could actually hit something. Getting down some force fields, excellent plan, and that's exactly what he needs to do, to sort of hold the locusts back. He needs time to get the Colossus numbers out to the point where he can actually DPS them as fast as they're coming in. And he's almost there. 2 Colossus. Once the other 2 get here, he should be fine. He's got level 3 weapons just about to finish. And in this sort of battle, weapons are absolutely everything. Armor, yeah, sort of, but the weapons are absolutely everything. The life has been bulking up his swarm host numbers, and the Locust are getting in here. They are starting to take stuff out, starting to wipe out units. For Colossus, they were good 5 seconds ago. They are not good anymore. The amount of swarm hosts have really started to bulk up, and I think there are, what, 18 at the moment, which is quite a decent number. And Life choosing to start pumping out the Corruptors at the moment, which is a great idea. Roach has come around the backside, probably got some workers, not a whole lot though, and Life has actually started to sack some workers. Man, what happened here? The hatchery goes down. I feel like that's something, actually, you know what? I'm going to go back and we're going to watch it because I completely missed that. And I know you guys are looking at the blue stuff over there and you're like, what's happening? What's happening? How did that happen? So we are going to have to go back. It looks like it's only a minute before, so there we go. It looks like some Warp Prism action happening over here. Oh, DTs. DTs for the win right there. Just sort of running in, and this one Spine Crawler does not stand a chance. He's got some Spine Crawlers coming down, and he's trying to defend this base, but the DT drop looks like it's going to do a massive amount of chaos over here. And the Overseer finally coming back, but yeah, it did not happen. And we can see the start of the Corruptor army starting to come out from Life, and this is going to be what destroys these Colossus. If you can get the Corruptors in there, start wiping out the Colossus, there is going to be nothing that can deal with the Locust. Absolutely nothing. So we've seen this bit already, so we just speed it up a little bit to the point where the rest of the Colossus come back in. And here we go. I think this is it. Looks like some Lings actually coming through here. Going to be getting taken care of by the Zealots, so there's no problems there. The Locust coming in. So far, they've really just attacked this Assimilator and a couple of probes, but we do have 5 Colossus. We should have 6. I don't know why we don't have 6, but anyway, we've got level 3 weapons for these guys. So the Locusts are finally actually being turned back, I feel like. They got enough Colossus DPS, and they got a bazillion Blink Stalkers. So Corruptors maybe not going to be the way to go here. And we do have Broodlords coming out though, and Broodlords are going to be interesting because it requires the Stalkers to blink in close, and I don't know if Life times it correctly. He can blink into the safety of the Locust, but he definitely did not time that correctly. The Broodlords were way out of position, Locusts were nowhere to be seen, and the Blink Stalkers very easily sniped 2 Broodlords without any sort of damage being done to them. So are these Lings still going? Man, I need a drink. But yeah, the Zealot's not actually taking care of these guys, so the worker numbers are starting to drop in a big way for NaNiwa. He's not going to be happy about that, trying to deal with those Lings, but yeah, it's just, he underestimated the force of that Ling attack. And here we go, falling back into the front of the 3rd/4th base. More Lings coming in here. They're going to take out the cannon. Looks like the Zealot should finish them off. The Zealot's finally over here, and they've chosen to burrow. And yeah, so that's a whole bunch of Zealots in the Colossus that he can't pull out to the front lines because he has to watch that thing. Where is the Observer over here? He's actually decided to pull his army away. Not sure if that was a great decision. A better one would have been to move an Observer over there. His Chrono Boost one out, but I guess he needs his robotics facilities to build the Colossus. So here we go. The Blink Stalker Colossus action has moved forward, and this base is relatively undefended, so should be able to take this out. And now Life is going to start losing some units. He has to deal with the constant Locust incursion and getting a little bit out of position there. Actually, these Colossus in range of the Locust, but more Lings coming in. The Zealot's finally going to be taking them out, and the Lings have jumped back up here. Some DTs going to be taking them out, but they may be able to destroy some sort of important structure there. Meanwhile, the Locust going to come around the side, maybe? Going to hit around the side, and these guys deciding, you know what? I'm getting attacked to the ground, but I'm just going to deal with it. The Blink Stalkers coming out, getting some beautiful hits off on the Broodlords, but the Broodlords do have a nice position in this chasm. The Stalkers having a hard time hitting them, and finally, the Locust pressure going to be forcing NaNiwa to move out of that very precarious position where he's actually getting sandwiched in between the Locust and the Broodlord Swarm Host, or whatever the Broodlords, the Broodling stuff out there. Yeah, he was getting trapped anyway, and Really, really awesome stuff. I don't know why Life has not taken that base yet. I feel like he should. Maybe because there's a rock in the way. That's probably why. But I'm sure he'll be taking out that rock at some point and looking to do some stuff. More Lings coming on in. And really, the Ling pressure so far in this game has been quite awesome. Loka's actually getting nice and close. Don't really kill anything. But, yeah, they're making themselves known, making their presence known. And so far, the worker numbers are still favouring Life at this point. And he has not lost a whole lot of Swarm Hosts at this point. He's lost a fair amount of Broodlords, which I'm sure he's not happy about. But he hasn't lost a lot of Swarm Hosts, and the Locusts have continued to really put the pressure on NaNiwa's army here. He's got a crap ton of Corruptors, and, sorry, a crap load of Colossus, which is able to deal with the Locusts if they're in a good position. But I don't know, man. The Corruptor numbers, I would have liked to have seen the Corruptor numbers try and snipe the Colossus out, trying to get a good position. But I guess with so many Blink Stalkers, it's very, very hard to do without a ground army on your side. And, yeah, the only ground army he's got is the Locust. So trying to get the Protoss in a position where his Corruptors can safely hit the Colossus is very, very hard to do. And I can understand why he hasn't done it so far. However, the Broodlords, man, I just do not know, man. It's the same sort of deal. They can sort of go out there, sort of do some damage, but the Swarm Host, they really need Swarm Host support for the Broodlords to be able to go out there. So it's very, very hard. I mean, right now, the Broodlords and the Swarm Host together can sort of push away, but the Protoss army, I don't say this often enough, but the Protoss army is way more mobile than the Zerg army at the moment, and considering how many Zerg bases there are out there and how much more Life is mining, he may get to the point where he's actually base starved, where he's just lost so much, just losing bases left, right and center, and he's trying to mine, but all his bases keep getting destroyed because we know one thing is that NaNiwa can move around and can hit a lot of bases all over the place. And it comes down to who loses more units, because NaNiwa hasn't lost a lot of units. And Life, he's lost a few Broodlords, but I don't think he's going to be doing any more of that silly stuff to actually lose his Broodlords now. But NaNiwa, man, he's getting very, very close to being cut off here. He can still got this back alley around here he can sort of fall back to. And I suppose that's the only reason why he's moving over here, because he thinks he can take this base and then take that back alley. But if it wasn't for this back alley, he'd be in a ton of trouble right now. And here we go, Life moving in. Once again, not able to actually finish off the hatchery. And he's really got no effective counter for the Broodlords. They're actually moving way out of position here, though. The Locusts is going to be sort of helping them out and choosing not to go into the Blink Stalkers to attack the Broodlords. It was potentially an option that NaNiwa had available to him, but going around the back alley and unfortunately moving around, trying to move through here, it's a bit of a tight squeeze, and that gives Life a definite opportunity to take out this base. It's one of the main mining bases for NaNiwa, and if he loses this, it's not going to be good. I think he's pretty much given up on this base, and the base is going to go down. It's going to give Life a nice high ground vantage point with which to move in and start harassing the rest of NaNiwa's bases. This also takes out a whole bunch of gateways. This could be the beginning of the end, but the unfortunate bit for Life is he's in a bit of a choke point here. And Colossus, when used correctly, should be able to just make mincemeat of any Locust here, but I don't know, Life has pushed past that choke point. He's right in there. With his forces, he's got a ton of Corruptors as well in his army. How many Corruptors does he have? About 12. And that is definitely enough to start hitting these guys. We do have a single Tempest with another one and a third one coming out. It may be too little too late though. I mean, Tempests are an exceptionally good idea. Just absolutely shredding the Broodlords, but it may be too little too late. I mean, NaNiwa just may have lost too much. If he loses this Nexus, and if he loses this Nexus, he is screwed. If he just loses this one, maybe he's screwed. He's got one mining base at the moment, and the Swarm Host, I mean, they don't take massive damage from the Tempest, but they could still eventually get taken out. But here we go, the Locust pinning down this main army, and it's all ground except for the Tempest. So Swarm Host is going to be done to do a ton of stuff here and maybe hold this off. Getting down some Storm, which is great. NaNiwa needs to hit this hard. and take out everything. That's exactly what he's doing. The Stalker's going in, just absolutely demolishing the Broodlords. Get an Observer in there, you can start to demolish the Swarm Hosts as well. And can the Blink Stalkers hold on here? Can they do the damage? He's going in hard. He's doing a lot of stuff. All the Swarm Hosts are pretty much dead. There's only a few left. The Blink Stalker's doing a great job. The Corruptor's doing a great job against the Colossus. All of the Colossus are pretty much dead. The Blink Stalkers are still holding on though, but there's still a few Swarm Hosts left, a few Broodlords left. And the question is, what is going to happen right here? I'm not sure. It looks like Life is going for a ton of Roaches just to sort of finish this off. He knows that both armies are at a very, very low level. And he has the macro, man. He's got the macro to make it happen. So he's going for a ton of stuff. He's building 7 Broodlords, 10 Corruptors. He's going for a ton of Roaches. He's just going to overwhelm NaNiwa's army. And NaNiwa, I mean, he's done a beautiful job with his Stalkers. Those Stalkers went into the center of the enemy army. They did what they needed to do. They got it done. And it was a great battle. But can he overcome Life's macro? And I'm really not sure if he can, because, I mean, Stalkers are great versus Roaches, but Life is just building so many units right here. He's even getting a couple of Vipers just to be yanking the Colossus all out of position. He's got a bunch more Broodlords, and the Stalkers, they're not going to have free reign to take out the Broodlords anymore. They got to deal with the Roaches, and Colossus are not super good versus Roaches. They need the Stalker DPS to really take them out. And NaNiwa, seeing the army there, seeing the Roaches, seeing the Broodlords, decides that the macro is just too far against him, does give the GG. And I gotta say, man, that was brilliant. The Broodlord Swarm Host Corruptor army, I thought it was unstoppable. NaNiwa stopped it with the Blink Stalkers and the Colossus. He even got some Tempests out at the end, but the Stalkers, man, the Blink Stalkers against that army, really, really, really good job. It's just a beautiful job right there in just blinking in, taking him out with the Colossus support. So I've got to say grats to NaNiwa for that attack at the end of the game. Unfortunately, the macro was not on his side. The constant Ling harassment from Life and all other sorts of crazy stuff really whittled down the worker numbers quite bad. And he had lost 2 of his 3 main mining bases. He was only mining off 1 base. So he had no chance of coming back. But the battle was so awesome, man, when he wiped out all of those expensive Zerg units with Blink Stalkers. Really, really awesome to see. So congratulations to both players, and congratulations, of course, to Life for winning this battle, man. This is one of the few games where I feel like the loser really, really deserves a lot of congratulations for playing in this game. I mean, all of them deserve congrats, but NaNiwa, really, really awesome stuff in this game. Really awesome. So anyway, there we go. That has been this game. It has been awesome. Thank you very much for watching it. I will catch you guys tomorrow for another one. This has been Hairy Muppet. I hope you enjoyed this game. I'll catch you guys later.